Well, a man is sitting in the Lee County Jail this morning after Fort Myers police say he rammed into one of their patrol cars overnight. Investigators tell us a black BMW drove right into one of their police SUVs, and that's the car in question right there. The airbags went off. There is some damage, as you can see, to the passenger side of that Fort Myers police SUV, but we're told that the officer is doing just fine this morning. Police tell us that the man driving that black BMW was reportedly harassing a woman at two different bars in the area of Colonial Boulevard and Metro Parkway in Fort Myers. So when officers tried to talk to the man, that was about 1 this morning. That's when they say he drove off. They tried to stop him on Edison, and according to police, that's when he rammed the SUV 2 different times. He was arrested. Police tell us he will be charged with DUI as well as vehicular assault. DeSoto County investigators say a woman confessed to the murder of her husband. Joni Truman's husband was found dead on Friday of multiple gunshot wounds at their home. That's where deputies say she confessed. She was arrested on a charge of premeditated murder. She is still in the DeSoto County Jail this morning on no bond. 8:03 right now, and new numbers from the U.S. Department of Labor show there nearly 1 million jobs were created across the country last month. That's good news, right? It's helping cities to rebound from the COVID-19 pandemic, including right here in Southwest Florida. So our Christina Evans is live in downtown Fort Myers this morning. And Christina, I want to know, how is Southwest Florida stacking up when we're compared to the rest of the state and country? Is it looking good?
Yes, it is looking good. Good morning, Amy. And actually, if you've been to downtown Fort Myers or Fort Myers Beach anytime over the last few weeks, you've seen how crowded these restaurants and stores have been. And actually, the Department of Labor is saying that this explosion of customers that they're seeing has actually caused companies last month in March to get at least 916,000 jobs back going during the COVID-19 pandemic. And that actually took the national unemployment rate down from 6.2% to 6% in just 30 days. Now, closer to home, Southwest Florida counties are holding up better than the national average. Both Lee and Charlotte County are sitting at 4.1% unemployment, while Collier County is even lower at 3.4%. Victor Clark, economics professor with Florida Gulf Coast University, says that we can thank all of the spring break travelers and the seasonal travelers for their help keeping Southwest Florida businesses open.
It seems like Southwest Florida is doing probably a little better than the national average. And I think some of the reason for that is that we weren't quite as locked down as some other states. But it's also true that we depend heavily for jobs in hospitality. So jobs like restaurants, hotels, those sorts of things, they were down. And that's our bread and butter this time of year, right? Season. And the good news is you can tell that we are, in fact, in season.
Now, Clark believes that the boost we are seeing is now partly due to the vaccines becoming more widely available, leading to increased consumer confidence and people wanting to just get out of the house. And Governor Ron DeSantis says that this is his job. He's wanted to make sure that Florida is going to continue to rebound from the COVID-19 pandemic and recoup some of that job loss that we've seen over the past year. But actually, the hospitality industry, even though it is doing well during season right now, we're still losing about 14,000 jobs that we normally have here in Southwest Florida. So the governor says that it's going to be his job to keep making sure that the state rebounds by keeping the state as open as possible and lessening those restrictions. In Fort Myers, Christina Evans, Fox 4.
Yeah, Christina, we know it's been so difficult for people in the hospitality industry, even though we are doing better. I have a quick question. Is there one industry or a job here in Southwest Florida that did better during the pandemic?
Well, actually, Amy, yes, the construction industry is continuing to thrive during this pandemic. And that's actually because people haven't stopped buying homes or condos during this entire time. And so because they were outside and able to social distance, that industry continued to thrive. And it actually took up some of those jobs that the hospitality industry was losing.
All right, good information. Christina Evans live in downtown Fort Myers. Thanks so much. All right, for those of you in LaBelle, I've got a heads up for you this morning. There is a precautionary boil water notice if you're a customer of the Port LaBelle utility system. There was a water main break there. So this notice is expected to last for the next 3 days. Residents will be notified when it's been lifted. And parents, if you have kids who go to school, students who attend LaBelle Middle and Country Oaks Elementary Schools should bring bottled water to school. So keep that in mind this morning as you're heading out the door. Workers are still at it this morning. They are trying to pump out millions of gallons of contaminated water from a wastewater pond that's in danger of collapsing right now. This is at the old Piney Point phosphate mine, which is in Manatee County. Larissa Scott has the latest on their progress.
The phosphate plant is just down the road here in Manatee County, where crews have been working nonstop to keep millions of gallons of contaminated water from flooding the area. More pumps were deployed yesterday to push more water out, and drones are flying over the area constantly to monitor for leaks. The additional pump should now be removing about 75 to 100 million gallons of contaminated water a day. Yesterday, fears of a second uncontrolled leak at the gypsum stack caused workers to evacuate the area after an infrared drone detected a possible second breach. But the latest update from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection is that there is no second breach. The agency tells us the uncontrolled discharge to Piney Point Creek has stopped, while the controlled discharges into Port Manatee to continue to relieve pressure and stabilize the system. Yesterday, Congressman Vern Buchanan spoke at a press conference expressing his frustrations with the contaminated water issue that this area has seen for decades.
Enough's enough. So I'm angry about it, frankly, and I'm going to bring that intensity to make sure that we're doing what we've got to do to get this fixed.
And currently, the evacuation order remains in effect for more than 300 homes and several businesses in the area. Reporting from Manatee County, I'm Larissa Scott.
And our state ag commissioner, Nikki Fried, will be at Piney Point today. She will be asking the governor to convene the cabinet to try and deal with this crisis. She plans to make a public statement at the Manatee County Emergency Management Office this afternoon. Of course, we'll let you know what she says. 8:08 right now, and a former staffer of Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is calling the sex crime allegations against him fabricated. Nathan Nelson, the former director of military affairs for Gaetz, says 2 FBI agents came to his house last week after they were told by the media that he had knowledge of the congressman's alleged misconduct. Gaetz is under investigation for allegedly violating federal sex trafficking laws. Take a listen.
This baseless claim against me leaves me further convinced that the allegations against Congressman Gaetz are likewise fabricated and merely an attempt to discredit a very vocal conservative.
So the Justice Department is investigating whether Gaetz broke federal sex trafficking laws for reportedly having sex with a 17-year-old girl. Investigators believe that he paid for sex with a number of women that he met through someone named Joel Greenberg, a former Florida tax collector who was indicted last year on federal sex trafficking charges. But again, Gaetz denies any wrongdoing. He is refusing calls for his resignation. Gonzaga fans are licking their wounds this morning. The Baylor Bears are the NCAA men's basketball champions. They hold that title for the first time after defeating Gonzaga 86-70. This was Monday, yesterday, when this happened, if you didn't see it. Baylor went into the tournament as one of 4 #1 seeds. Gonzaga fans representing, though, one of them did a really good job of doing that with this message for support. Take a listen.
I say this every March. There's always next year. There's always next year. Go Zags!
Go Zags. Love that handlebar. All right, Gonzaga was on a 35-game undefeated streak and ranked #1, but the Bears took an early lead. They never let it go. The Bulldogs almost caught up, though, in the second half. It was a close one. I did not get to see the game, but you can see how excited the fans are who are there. So it was a big one.
You know, I was rooting for Baylor because Gonzaga would have been the first team since Indiana to go undefeated in '76. So I had to wear my Hoosier colors today just to let everybody know who the last undefeated team was.
We look like we're going to prom, the 3 of us.
We do.
We got the memo.
What does red mean? We should look it up. Or what are we thinking? What's our mood? What's
Romance.
red mean? Is that what it is, or did you just make it up?
I totally made it up.
I believed you. I trusted you.
I think I like it. Hey, some nice weather for outdoor prom. Do a little dancing later. Big area, high pressure, keeping things quiet here. As we roll through the next couple of days, we're not going to see much as far as rainfall. We will see a warm up, though. We'll let you know how hot things are going to get coming up in just a few minutes.
Ooh, friends, it is time to talk about those allergies. I've been struggling. I know a lot of you have been as well. So next, we're talking live with an expert about what's triggering our sniffles and sneezes. We're getting your questions answered as well. Lauren?
All right, first, let's get a check of your traffic hotspots brought to you by the injury law experts at Farah & Farah.
For the past 40 years, Farah & Farah has grown from 3 employees to over 300. And though we're larger, our focus has never changed. Like how we treat every client and how we believe that every case is a big case.
All right, guys, amid the pandemic, a case of the sniffles or hay fever is the last thing we want to stress over, right? I've been struggling. I know so many of you have been too. There are a lot of big offenders out there right now that we're dealing with. We've got the tree pollens, the grass pollens, the ragweed. All of them are blowing through our area constantly. You can hear me. I sound a little congested this morning myself. So if you are struggling and you've got the seasonal stuffy nose blues, we have just the thing for you this morning. We want to help you out. So we have pharmacist Justin Ceravolo. He's from Cypress Pharmacy, and he's joining us now to talk about this issue so many of us are dealing with. Good morning, Justin. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
I'm awesome. So many of our friends and family here in Southwest Florida, they're suffering right now. So what can we do to kind of minimize this or reduce our exposure?
Well, it's all about prevention at this point. You know, if you have allergies, when the spring and fall comes, all that pollen in the air really starts irritating us. We get sniffly, runny nose, itchy eyes, sinus pressure. So there's things that we need to start doing when that starts happening to reduce our exposure to the pollen. So that's going to be limiting exposure outside whenever pollen counts are high, and you can go on the news or a weather station and see when those pollen counts are really up. And you want to start to limit those outside activities if you need to. So for instance, if you dry any clothes outside, try not to do that. Once you come inside, to really take off anything that you can and not bring it into the house. So it's really going to be about limiting what you bring into your home. It's almost like a social distancing for pollen coming into our household.
Yeah, you know, we always hear about preventing the spread of COVID or the flu, but you kind of need to prevent the spread of pollen if you suffer from allergies, right?
You do. And when you know if you have allergies, but even allergies can come from anything. It's really just a foreign invader that comes in and causes our immune systems to say, hey, I don't like this, and I'm trying to expel it. So you can actually take medications to prevent it from having that kind of response. A lot of medications you can take over the counter are really going to prevent that allergic response that your body is making you go through.
Right, and you can talk to your doctor about what you might want to take there. But I do have a question that I get a lot when people have the runny nose or, you know, the sniffles. How can you tell the difference? Like, am I suffering from allergies, or do I need to go, you know, get a COVID test? How can you tell the difference? Is there a way?
The main thing with COVID or any other active infection is that you will get a fever. Allergies don't normally cause a fever. You might get more of a wet cough, so it sounds gurgly. Allergies usually don't cause a cough, but it might be a dry cough, which happens whenever we have a lot of nasal dripping coming into our throat, and then it irritates, causes that dry cough. So fever and a wet cough, even colored mucus, is a sign that you would have an infection instead of allergies.
Okay, I know for me, it's the itchy eyes, because, you know, if you're sick, your eyes aren't itchy, but mine, I just want to scratch them out. Getting super personal this morning on Fox 4 Morning News. All right, Justin from Cypress Pharmacy, thanks so much for joining us. We hope you have a great day. Awesome information.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. How about you guys? Have you been plagued by the allergies? My two little love bugs over in the traffic and weather center?
You know, growing up in the Midwest, every spring and fall, I was horrible. When I moved to Florida, whatever's down here, I'm not allergic to.
Well, you're lucky.
That is a good thing.
I do really, really well down here. Or maybe it's just comparing it to the worst. How about you, Lauren?
As a kid, I always had bad allergies. I think it's just something I kind of grew out of. I mean, I consider myself lucky. I think people with contacts too, it like connects to their contacts, makes it way worse. So I'm looking okay. Sorry to rub it in.
Grass behind you?
Yeah, you know, I'm just reminding Amy, got to mow your lawn today. It's getting a little long. Well, here's why, Amy. Look, I got some bad news for you, though. For those of you who suffer from allergies, we're going to keep it there in the moderate category as we go through the mid to later parts of the week. Not as high as a couple of weeks ago, but one thing we do not have is rain to help wash this pollen away. You can see how dry it is on the radar. So the breeze blowing it around a little bit until we get some significant downpours here to kind of settle things out is going to continue to be there in the moderate category. Now, as far as what we're looking at this morning, just a couple of teeny tiny showers early today in the Florida Keys. Then we picked up a little activity there. Those are birds taking off over the Everglades. And right now from Cape Coral all the way up through Arcadia, we're dry. We're warming up. We're in the mid 50s 60s now for LaBelle, Palmdale, still around 53 degrees in Arcadia and Northport. And we're a little bit warmer compared to this time yesterday as you head down towards the southern parts there of Collier with a very light wind coming in out of the east. We'll push our temperatures up a little bit warmer here today, up to about 83. Your sunset time coming up there at 7:47. Our averages on this date, 83, 60.